I actually want to show if we can put this up here on the screen. What I did is I took Luke chapter 4, the quotation that we have here, and compared it what's in the Tanakh, that is in the Masoretic text, the Hebrew text of the book of Isaiah. So the first part, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, and the Tanakh has the Spirit of the Lord Yehovah is upon me. I wouldn't make anything of that. I don't know if that's significant at all. And then we go on, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. But then in Luke, he has anointed me to bring good news to the humble. And that's actually really interesting. That's a translation issue. The same word that means poor, aniyim, could be translated or even read as anavim, as humble. So that's something that happened on the Hebrew side, when it was then translated into Greek, presumably. And then Isaiah 61, verse 1 continues, to bind up the brokenhearted. In the Tanakh, it's to bind up the brokenhearted. Well, that's not in what he's reading. He doesn't read that part. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives, that's the same, and recovery of sight to the blind, or release to the prisoners. That may actually be something in the Hebrew as well. That's a translation issue. Let's not get into that. What's really interesting to me here is Isaiah, or in the Tanakh, as he continues, the next phrase doesn't come from Isaiah 61. It comes from Isaiah 58, verse 6, to let the oppressed go free. And then he ends his recitation, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. But the verse in Isaiah continues in 61, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn. And we talked last time, and that's finished with that up there. We talked last time about how one of the messianic expectations that the Jews had back then, and still have today, is the ingathering of the exiles. Well, let's read on in Isaiah 61, comfort all who mourn, to provide those who mourn in Zion, to give them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a faint spirit, etc. And then verse 4, they shall build up the ancient ruins. They shall raise up the former devastations. They shall repair the ruined cities, the devastation of many generations. So what's being described here? What Isaiah is talking about is the Israelites are to be, because it's in the future for Isaiah, the Israelites are to be taken into exile, and then they will come back at some point and rebuild their destroyed cities.
Shalom, estudiosos de la Torá. Si ustedes han disfrutado de los programas de Un Rudo Despertar, es vital para nosotros que consideren unirse al nuevo club de patrocinadores, donde su ayuda financiera nos permitirá continuar con la traducción y postproducción de las enseñanzas que el ministerio les trae. Apóyennos. Toda la misión que el ministerio lleva a cabo no sería posible sin el apoyo financiero de nuestros patrocinadores. Ustedes son parte esencial de nuestro equipo. Gracias a nuestros patrocinadores, las vidas de miles de personas que no tienen los recursos han sido bendecidas alrededor del mundo. Pero para mantener estos programas al aire, es necesario que más personas apoyen esta iniciativa. En agradecimiento a aquellos que ya nos están apoyando, hemos formado el Club de Patrocinadores Un Rudo Despertar. Nuestros miembros disfrutan de enseñanzas inéditas, promociones y descuentos especiales exclusivos, los cuales ustedes también podrán disfrutar al suscribirse. Sea parte hoy mismo del Club de Patrocinadores siguiendo las instrucciones abajo de este video. Muchas gracias por su apoyo.